Welcome to my kitchen. Today, I'm so excited to share with you a great recipe, super simple and super seasonal. It's a strawberry shortcake with a drop biscuit. So it's super simple, that anyone can do at home. Maine has a very short strawberry season. We've got some local strawberries here and also blueberry season. So I've got some local Maine blueberries here as well. While we prepare this wonderful dessert, champagne goes great with this. So this is a Via Carte Salmon. It's from France. It's a beautiful champagne. It's actually spent a little extra time on oak barrels, so it's gonna impart a buttery, sort of toasty note to this champagne, which is perfect to go with our drop biscuits, a baked good with butter. It's gonna be a great complement, and it's an amazing champagne. So let's open this up and we'll have some of this now. So good, so good. And it has that really great buttery, smooth, velvety texture on the tongue. Great champagne. You can find it at Bow Street in Portland. All right, so grab a bowl. We're gonna do our dry ingredients first. So it calls for 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Real simple recipe. So we're gonna do 2 cups of flour. Fill up the cup, doesn't have to be sifted. It's not that precise of a recipe. We do wanna add some sugar, and we are going to put in a 1/4 cup of sugar. So just regular white granulated sugar. This is baking powder, so we want the biscuit to rise a little bit. So 1 tablespoon of baking powder. This recipe does not call for any egg, which is nice because my son actually has an egg allergy, so this is a great recipe for those who may have an egg allergy. There's no nuts or anything like that in here either, so my kids love this dish. So once we've got all the dry ingredients, we'll just give it a little mix. We're gonna add the wet ingredients to it, but before we do so, we're gonna add our butter. So this is 1 stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup or 8 tablespoons of butter. So it should be cold butter. So you could use a mixer. I don't think it's necessary. I'm gonna do it by hand. So we wanna cut it up into small pieces. And again, keep the butter as cold as possible before you do this. And then we're gonna put it in mix it into the dry ingredients. The butter is not sticking to my hands because of the flour, and I'm just breaking up the butter into smaller pieces. So as you can see, the butter is more granulated throughout the flour, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to break up those butter pieces a little more and get it mixed throughout the flour. We're gonna add just 1 teaspoon of salt. I use my fingers, that's about 1 teaspoon, but 1 teaspoon of salt. So once we have our flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, and our butter mixed in, we're gonna add the wet ingredients. Either whole milk, or some people will use buttermilk. They're essentially interchangeable. Buttermilk will add a little bit of an acidity flavor to it, but you can use whole milk or buttermilk. All right, so whole milk we're adding to our dry ingredients, 1 1/4 cup. And 1/4. The key here is not to over mix it. So we don't need a mixer, we don't need a whisk here. We really just need to stir it up. We don't want to over mix the dough and develop too many of those gluten proteins. So just mix it up. That is it. It'll be a little wet, and we're gonna let it rest. In the meantime, we're preheating our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and now we will prepare the fruit. And so because it is strawberry season, I've got some beautiful strawberries, local strawberries. One of my favorite places to go is Maxwell Farms in Cape Elizabeth. It's a great place to take the kids to go pick strawberries. It's so fun. So of course, always wash your strawberries. We've done that already. And we're just gonna cut out the stem, and how you cut this is really up to you. This is a really great project also to have the kids jump into the kitchen and help out. It's a good way to get them excited about cooking and being in the kitchen, because they know they're gonna get a pretty good treat at the end. But before entering into the real estate industry, I followed another passion of mine, and that was cooking. I had no intention of that. Coming out of college, I thought I was gonna be the next president of the United States or senator. And so I moved to DC with big dreams, political dreams. Quickly realized that was not my future, and found that my passion for cooking led me into the professional restaurant industry. I worked in San Francisco, Washington, D.C., where I spent most of my professional career at a restaurant called Comey. Wonderful Greek Mediterranean restaurant. The owners, Johnny and Ann, are two of my absolute favorite people in this world, and I worked for them for almost a decade. We opened a sister restaurant called Little Saro, a Thai restaurant, and it was just an amazing experience. The people I got to work with and cook for. Of course, the most famous person I've ever cooked for while being a chef was President Obama and Michelle Obama for Mother's Day. It was quite an experience to cook for a president of the United States. A memory that I'll never forget, and an honor, I'll never forget. I also traveled around Europe for a year. I lived in Spain. I opened a little cafe in Madrid. Through my travels, met the right people and found opportunity to partner with someone opening up, which was primarily a bar and a nightclub, but had a kitchen for during the day. And they didn't have any restaurant experience. They had bar experience and club experience, but no food experience. So they hired me, this American backpacking through Spain, to open up their kitchen and design the menu and design the kitchen and then produce food. Did lunches every single day and did dinners every single night, a mix of Spanish food and American food. It was really cool. Every once in a while, an expat would come in at lunchtime and go, "Who's making barbecue ribs?" Because they don't have that in Spain. I can't remember where he was from, but he was American, and he was like, "I'm having lunch here, and I want to meet the chef." And of course, I go upstairs and meet him and serve him barbecue ribs in Madrid, Spain. We at Elevate Maine Realty, Melanie and I talk all the time about our commitment and dedication to service. The meaning of service was really instilled upon me during my restaurant career. As a chef, we have big egos, and we thought people came to the restaurant for the food. And they do. If the food's not good, they're not going to come back. But plenty of restaurants serve great food, but they don't all provide exemplary service. And the ones that do are the ones that win the awards, that have repeat customers, of loyal customers. Those restaurants, combination of good food and exemplary service, is what sets those restaurants apart from all the other ones serving good food. As a chef, that was took me a little while to accept. All of us in the back of the house thought, no, they're here for the food. I got to learn the true meaning of service in the restaurant, observing my front of the house staff. Characteristics of great service include setting expectations and then exceeding them, providing things to the customer or the guest that they didn't even know they needed or wanted. We provided it to them before they even realized it. To make every meal special, they had names, we used their names. The servers had names. We never called chef. His name was Johnny. My name was Michael. The server had a name. We never used titles. It was as if the dining guests were in our own home and we were serving them dinner in our own home. And you would never call someone, you would never say, "Oh, my husband or my wife in the kitchen, oh yeah, the chef is making us dinner tonight." No, they have names. And so it was about that intimacy, about setting the right environment for people to celebrate their occasions, their birthdays and their anniversaries, and to provide service they didn't even know they needed or wanted. Setting expectations and exceeding them. Doing the job at the highest level of expertise and professionalism. To the smallest details. Where the fork was laid down, where the glass was put. If a guest's water glass was half empty, it got filled up again. And they didn't even ask for it. So it's about really taking care of people. And I think my restaurant experience really instilled that. And it's so transferable to the real estate industry. Buyers and sellers, they don't always know what to expect. We provide a service and the professionalism and expertise to anticipate their needs, to exceed their expectations every step of the way. And the attention to detail, it's not forks and glasses anymore, but it's contracts, it's communication, it's partnering with the right partners like lenders and title. And every little, we do so many things the customer, the client, never even sees because we're so attentive to those details to make the experience for the real estate client special, individualized, and just like dinner in your own home, an intimate experience. We are preparing our strawberries. Let me just check in on our biscuit. See that? There's some air being formed inside this dough from the baking powder. This is perfect. You can tell it's not as wet anymore. This is a perfect consistency for our drop biscuit. So let's get those in the oven. So it's called a drop biscuit for a reason. We're not forming it, we're literally taking a tablespoon and we're dropping it on the pan. So of course you can make these biscuits as big or as small as you desire. So our oven is at 400 degrees and we're going to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes. I do like to check them on the early side just to make sure we don't overcook them. Once we have our prepared strawberries, we're gonna add our granulated sugar, and it calls for a 1/4 cup. We're gonna add the zest of a lemon, and then we're just gonna stir that up. And what's gonna happen is some of the juice is gonna start coming out of these strawberries. It's gonna be so good. You can already see how it's getting juicier. The juices are coming out. We want some of that strawberry juice when we plate it onto our biscuit. So I do have these Maine blueberries, which would be absolutely wonderful on these drop biscuits, prepared in the same way. Add a little sugar, a little lemon zest, and we can prepare it for the biscuits as well. This next step and final part of this preparation is the most important. This is what will elevate your strawberry shortcake. Hand-whipped whipped cream. I love Cool Whip. Don't buy Cool Whip for this. So we've got some heavy cream. We'll do 1 cup of heavy cream, which is half of this. I never measure. It's just like, whatever. All right, and then we will add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar and whisk it. I promise the effort to whip this into homemade whipped cream is worth it. All right, I think our drop biscuits are just about done. We have our strawberries, blueberries, and whipped cream ready to go. I don't have a favorite dish. What I love to do is cook for people in large gatherings. So oftentimes it'll be like a pork shoulder, a 10-pound pork shoulder that I'll smoke for 15 hours in this pellet smoker and have a big group of friends over for tacos or just something with a large kind of quantity of food, because I just love hosting and love cooking for people. I think in a lot of ways it plays into one of my love languages of acts of service. And cooking for people, there are few other great acts of service above feeding people. I think housing people is another thing. And to do both of those things in my life is really special and really rewarding. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen as we prepared a strawberry and blueberry shortcake on a drop biscuit. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.